Friends, an unintended but very dangerous consequence of the US and Israeli attack on Iran is that we have now firmly entered the third nuclear age. The first nuclear age was from 1945 until 1991, in which the US and Soviet Union were the largest nuclear weapons powers, but also China in 1964 and the UK and France. So there was a big P5. And in the beginning, this had been quite unstable, but over time, this had become a stable. After 1991, we entered the second nuclear age, which was an age of relative optimism, even though three new nuclear powers entered. That is in 1998, India and Pakistan, and in 2006, North Korea. International experts such as Vipin Narang and others believe that from 2014 onwards, we have entered a third nuclear age. This is primarily due to three developments. One is the development of AI and its infusion into weapons. The second is hypersonic missiles. And the third is anti-missile defenses. They have progressed so fast that these conventional but strategic weapons can also destroy other countries' nuclear weapons. This trend towards instability has been further enhanced in the last few years. One, because of Putin's repeated use of the nuclear threat against Ukraine, which means nuclear weapons are no longer just weapons of deterrence, but are being used for coercion also to get other objectives. Another aspect of this third nuclear age is that China is racing for nuclear weapons. China, which used to have only 300 nuclear warheads until 2020, today has about 600 nuclear warheads. And people are saying that by 2030, it could have 1,500 nuclear warheads. Of course, this is still less than Russia and US nuclear warheads. They are both supposed to have around 5,500 nuclear warheads, of which Russia has about 1,700 active nuclear warheads, and the US has about 3,700 nuclear warheads which are active. The second major development has been President Trump's kind of withdrawal from Europe and East Asia. Therefore, a lot of US allies, which depended on the US nuclear umbrella, US protection, will now feel more and more vulnerable. Especially middle powers such as South Korea, which is afraid of North Korean nuclear weapons, and Japan, which is afraid of North Korea as well as Russian nuclear weapons. But also countries like Turkey, which are facing a nuclear-armed regional hegemon like Israel, which is growing in strength day by day. To this is now added this brazen attack by Israel and the US. This comes only 8 months after a previous attack by the two of them. That is, repeated attacks on a country which was a non-nuclear power by two nuclear powers, whereas they don't attack a nuclear-powered North Korea. That is, if you have nuclear weapons, you are safe. And if you don't have nuclear weapons, as many countries have found out in the past few decades, that is Iraq, Libya, Iran, etc., you are highly vulnerable. In fact, your top leadership is under threat. Now, this might, as Vipin Narang says, even provoke countries which have small nuclear arsenals, like North Korea or India or Pakistan, to use them if they feel threatened. They could feel scared that if we don't use up our nuclear arsenal, it will be destroyed in a first strike or through conventional strike with AI weapons or with hypersonic missiles. In fact, countries that have given up their nuclear weapons might now be regretting it. Both Ukraine and Kazakhstan inherited the Soviet Union's nuclear weapons in 1991, but willingly gave them up. In hindsight, that was a mistake, because had Ukraine had nuclear weapons, it would never have been attacked by Russia. This third nuclear age has now become especially sensitive in South Asia because India and Pakistan have repeatedly engaged in conventional exchanges, including firing missiles at each other, shooting down each other's airplanes. This instability could very quickly escalate to the nuclear level. Therefore, this latest attack by US and Israel is especially dangerous because it shows that Iran's hedging strategy of not possessing a nuclear weapon, but having the capability to do so, provided no protection from a massive conventional decapitating attack. That means the logic of self-defense would dictate that any country in such a position should now race for nuclear weapons. I won't be surprised if in the next decade we see 2 to 3 new nuclear powers. This could be Turkey, which has the technology and the scientific manpower. This could be South Korea, which has the capability. This could even be Japan. And surprise, surprise, it could also be Taiwan. So please keep watching for such short, informative videos. Kindly like and share whatever video or short of mine that you like. We are still trying to grow our subscriber base. Keep watching. See you next time.